That girl stopped us on a. All right, it's 2:30. We've got tight end coach Jon Williams with us. Scott Wyckoff, you lead us off.
Hey, Coach, what do you like best about these tight ends as you finished fall camp and you're getting ready for VMI now?
Good question. There's a lot I like about them. I would say the main thing is just they embody everything that we look for here at the Naval Academy. They're really smart. You know, they're high character, and they have grit and toughness. So there's a lot to like about this bunch, which, to be honest with you, that the same could be said about our entire roster. We just got really good people that work really hard.
How is it for both you as a coach and also for the players having a second full season now coming into this system with the tight ends and with what Coach Cronick expects from your guys?
I think as with anything in life, the more you do it, the better you become, or that's the way it should be anyway. So I think each year we should be better and better and better. By no means are we where we want to be, but we're making a lot of progress. And I think the reason we're making a lot of progress is we have excellent leadership within that room. And we have some guys that have taken snaps, and we have guys that understand, what we're doing and how we're doing it. And, the best coaches in our room are the veterans that have done it, So a lot to like about the room right now.
And are you noticing a difference as the years have moved on since you've been here with the tight ends, with the younger players that are coming in now, your plebes and your sophomores, as a longer, maybe faster, more prototypical tight end than you might have had before?
Absolutely. The look of that room has totally changed. I remember I used to go into the room for a meeting or go to practice, and I was the tallest one at practice or in the meeting. And now I go in and I'm the shortest one. So there's definitely a different look about the room, but I would say, probably equally as impressive is just the demeanor and the confidence within the room. Like I say, we're growing day by day, practice by practice, and week by week, year by year. We're nowhere where we anticipate being, but we're making progress, and I'm really proud of where we're at.
Thanks a lot, Coach.
Thank you.
Wags.
Obviously, we all know about Cody Howards' injury past, and he's been tough in fighting through it. But everyone is praying that he has a healthy senior season. Where do you feel Cody is health wise? Do you feel he's 100%? Kind of give us. And are you confident he's going to make it through the year healthy?
Yeah, I'm confident he's going to make it through the year, and I'm speaking it into existence right. Cody is one of those guys that we as a coaching staff and our athletic training staff does a fantastic job. Like I've alluded to before in these interviews, he has a lot of miles on him, and our job is to maximize the mileage that we get out of him for the rest of his career. Now, what does that look like? That looks like we have to be smart about what we allow him to do and what we allow him to do in an effort to get him and allow him to feel good and play fast throughout the year. He's a different body than, say, a newcomer that's coming in with a fresh body. I feel confident that he's going to have his best year yet, and I feel confident that our team, our administrative team, as far as our athletic training team and our coaches staff, we're going to do a fantastic job of making sure we get him to the start line.
And so along those lines, I think the plan in preseason is to have him take limited reps so that to reduce the possibility of anything like that happening before we get to game one?
Yeah, we kind of pick and choose what we do, and some days he may go the first half of practice, some days he may go the last half of practice, some days he may go the middle part of practice, and then some days our athletic training staff gives me the liberty to say, okay, we've got a 24 period practice, you're going to get 12 periods or 10 periods. Where do you want them? And Cody does a really good job of communicating with me to tell me like what he needs and what his body needs, so to speak. So, the goal that he's one of those guys that you never have to worry about him wanting to get out of something. You have to worry about him, we have to worry about limiting him, to, like I said, get him to the start line. So he's a mature player, the leader in our room. He's the alpha in our room. And he knows more than anybody what his body needs and what his body doesn't need. And we just have to, be patient with that. And we have to listen to his body.
We've seen a very small sample size of what he can do, like that one play when he caught the pass and made a defender miss and ran into the end zone. I think all of us would like to see more of that, see him targeted more and kind of really see what he can do. But do you feel like he is a playmaker and that there's big plays to be made when the ball gets in his hand?
I do. I do think that he is a playmaker, and I think that he can help our offense get in the end zone. But I'm old school, and I believe that our job starts up front and as a blocker, and that's his dominant trait. He's got a lot of excellent traits as a player, but his dominant trait is he's another part of the offensive line, and he does a fantastic job of that. Really heavy-handed, plays with great leverage. So that part of it, that's the part that I love. Now, the catching passes and going and scoring, that's just a bonus with him. But I do think he's capable of being a valuable target, and I do think that our quarterbacks will utilize him. But at the end of the day, not just pertaining to Cody, but for all of those guys, there's a trust factor that you have to build with the quarterbacks, and those quarterbacks have to trust our guys to make plays. They have to trust our guys to be where they're supposed to be when they're supposed to be there, in terms of the timing of the routes, in terms of the depths of the routes and things like that. So we have to do a good job in our room building that trust so that the quarterbacks trust us to be where we're supposed to be when we're supposed to be there, and to finish the job and secure catch and be strong to the ball.
And lastly, for me, for now, Jake Norris, can you talk about his progress and in what ways is he a different tight end than Cody, and what does Jake bring to the table in your opinion?
Jake's one of those Swiss Army knife guys. He does a lot of different things for us and does a lot of different things well. I think just like Cody, I think Jake is I think one of his dominant traits is his inline blocking. He has a knack for getting the appropriate leverage when he needs to get it on defenders. So is he a capable target? Absolutely, 100%. Does he do certain things in the passing game better than others? Yes, he does. So like I said, it's our job to put him in the best position to make plays. But the one thing that about Jake that I can say, he is very dependable. And the other part that is a big deal for me is he's available. He's one of those guys that plays nicked up. Maybe you could say he's a little different version of Thomas Scully. just a very durable guy, very tough guy. Very seldom is he gonna, let the injury bug plague him, and he's just dependable and available. And I'm certainly glad that he's in our room.
I was passing it off, Strauss.
Coach, everyone knows Jake and Cody, but who are some of the other names that potentially could have an impact this year?
Of course, in terms of the upperclassmen, Jake and Cody, obviously, as we've discussed, Will Miles is a guy that got a little hamstring throughout camp, and he was really impressing us. I think he's another guy like Jake. I think he's really tough. He's a longer version of Jake. He's a 6'4" kid. Um, you know, um, from Mobile, Alabama. Was coming on really strong before he got hampered by a little hamstring. But excited for him to get back, and hopefully he can kind of pick up where he left off, so to speak. So excited about him. Theo Elwell is another one that we have really high hopes for within our program. Just got to come on, and he's a guy that was coming on last season and showed some flashes. Then he got a bone bruise and kind of faded a little bit toward the end of the season in terms of availability. Then in the spring, kind of battled a little bit and has battled a little bit in camp with just some nagging stuff. So excited about him. Another guy that we converted from quarterback was Drew Hall. In terms of being a route runner, I'm not so sure he wasn't one of our better route runners before he had his finger issue and has been out a little bit. But in terms of the plebes, that's probably been the brightest spot of camp, to be honest. We, outside of the fact that we have some veterans coming in, the plebes that we brought in have really impressed me. That class is really good. It's a really long class. You've got a 6'6" and a 6'7" guy in there. In Merrick Barlow and Braden Robertson. Braden does some things in the run game that you would not expect out of a plebe. And so really excited about those two. Merrick is a long guy that played receiver more in high school and is learning to play with his hand down. And that's coming on nicely. Probably the biggest surprise has been Jordan Collins. Jordan Collins is a really fast kid. Played at a dominant high school in South Carolina, South Point. His dad is actually the head coach there. So he's a coach's kid, and he gets it. He likes to be coach hard. Right now, all of the plebes, they kind of have scrambled eggs between the ears right now. They got a lot of things going on, and with the first day of school, they just finished plebe summer. They've got Division I football and a pretty nice sized playbook being thrown at them, but they are handling it really, really well. Some process it quicker than others. But in terms of the attitude and the work ethic and the skill set, I think that we did a really good job there. I think our staff did a really good job of getting the right guys in that room. And I would say the future is really bright with those guys, along with what we have committed. Super excited about that group.
Back to Jake Morris. He's from Madison, Mississippi, and we haven't had a ton of kids from Mississippi at Navy in my time, but I can tell you the ones that have been here have been tough as hell. It goes back to Cleavon Smith in the early 90s, Brandon Sanders, Clay Cromwell, and now Jake. What is it about Mississippi high school football that produces those type of kids?
I could talk to you for hours about it.
Figured you could. That's why I asked.
I spent 18 years in Mississippi, and I'm super proud of that fact. I I consider myself a Mississippi guy, even though I wasn't born or raised there. I cut my teeth in coaching there, and there's something different about Mississippi kids. And you can ask anybody throughout the football world, and they'll tell you they're just tough, and they have a grit to them like no other. You know, most of them haven't been given anything. Even the ones that come from affluent families have to earn it. And that's just kind of a staple of the culture in Mississippi. And then the other thing about that region and that area is people just seem to get along, okay? And they seem to adapt really, really well to different cultures and different type people. I used to call Mississippi a melting pot. You know, you've got 3 different regions. You've got North Mississippi that's kind of a Tennessee-ish vibe. You've got Central Mississippi that's kind of a Birmingham type vibe, and then you got the coast, which is like a Louisiana vibe. And you take those 3 areas and combine them into one, and then you got the Delta over there that's kind of on its own, which is a super gritty area. And you combine all those, and it's just kind of a melting pot. And but that's if I had to use one word to describe kids from Mississippi, I would just say grit. And most of them that come out of there, their best football is in front of them. You know, Mississippi is unlike Texas, where you have a football staff of 16 to 20 guys that are developing guys year round. Mississippi is smaller schools, not as many coaches. The kids typically play multiple different sports. They don't specialize in one area or one sport. So they're somewhat of a Swiss Army knife, so to speak. They can, you know, they're highly adaptable, and they can do a lot of different things. So I love those kids. And Jake's one of those examples where just tough, always available, never injured, and just eager to play and eager to contribute in whatever way possible. And might I add, he's an awesome leader on campus as well.
Also, Coach Dean has some Mississippi coaching roots as well, correct?
He does. We don't count him though. But yeah, he does. He and his wife Shauna spent time in Mississippi coaching as well.
Scott Wyckoff.
Coach, I know in practice you guys work a lot on your own, the tight ends together. What's it like though when you guys are working with the line and you're kind of working hand in hand with Coach Guillermo? What's it like working with him?
It's been awesome. Coach Guillermo and Coach Dean and I would say we're kind of cut from the same mold. So, you know, that has really gone a long way in the continuity of the front and us added to that front. You know, the communication is really good, not just amongst myself and our offensive line coaches, but also with the tackles and the tight ends. They do a great job communicating together to make sure we're all on the same page. And so it's been awesome, to be honest with you. I think Coach Guillermo and Coach Dean do an awesome job with those guys up front. And we're obviously we're young in that spot right now, but I think those guys are playing a little bit older than what they really are. And I think that's a reflection of the way that they're coached.
And for you personally, your journey as a coach since you've come to the Naval Academy, and you know how that has developed, and you've kind of worked into the position where you are with these tight ends.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, just being able to kind of like those Mississippi guys we just talked about, just kind of being able to adapt. And you know, my background for a major part of my career was with offensive line. That's why I embraced the blocking part so much of tight end play. So just having that background you know, Jay and Tommy we all kind of come from the same region. So we just all kind of get along and make it work. And it's you know, pretty effortless, you know, with us working together.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Another former Navy football player from Mississippi just popped in my mind, and I better say his name or he'll kill me. Lewis Sims is now a high school coach in Pascagoula.
Yeah, Lewis is
awesome. I know you know him too.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's perhaps the biggest Navy fan in the state of Mississippi. He and I talk a lot, and hated to hear he lost his mother last month, but love Lewis and always count on seeing him throughout the year. And he does a great job of letting us know what's going on down there where the players are at.
Wags.
Theo, Elwell, and Will Miles. Who at this point, who's number 3 on the depth chart, or is it still a battle?
Right now, number 3 on the depth chart is Jordan Collins. And you know, I think you know, prior to those two guys getting dinged up in camp, you know, I would say Will had the edge. You know, just from an availability standpoint, you know, he had kind of a rough transition last year, to be honest with you. Just like a lot of plebes have, but you know, did a great job of really growing up throughout the season, specifically in the off season. He had a great summer and had really positioned himself to you know, to be that next guy. Obviously being pushed pretty hard by Theo. So you know, both those guys have what it takes to help us win games. You know, like I say, I go back to what I said a minute ago. I think Will is kind of a longer version of Jake Norris. You know, kind of a Swiss Army knife, and has been really dependable, very consistent. You know what you're going to get out of him just about every play. You know, Theo possesses some traits to where you look and it's like, whoa, you know, that's pretty special. But what we have to get out of Theo is we just have to get consistency. And I think he's working on that, and he's going to be better. And I think that depth chart will change throughout the year as we go, for sure.
So, yeah, the day that I was at the stadium was you were with 3 tight ends. It was Howard, Norris, and I think Theo were not available. And I got a long look at number 36, Collins. He's a freshman, and I see that he was a track athlete. He ran the 400 meter, which is pretty good. That's a sprinter type event. And his dad is a former football player at South Carolina State. Can you give us a little scouting report on Jordan, what he brings to the table?
Yeah, Jordan has a really nice skill set. He's the fastest guy in our room. You know, I think he's around 230 pounds. You know, just super excited about what the future looks like for him. You know, like I say, I think as he begins processing everything that's being thrown at him throughout the year, you know, who knows what's going to happen with him. I think his potential is unlimited. But like I say, we talk about it in our room all the time. You know, right now, especially the young guys have a lot of pressure on them, especially the guys that have kind of found themselves on the travel team. But we also say pressure is a privilege, you know. So if you have pressure on you, then that means a lot is expected of you. So I think Jordan has handled that really well. And he's kind of coming into his own in terms of showing us who he is as a person and his personality. You know, and like I said, from a skill set standpoint, yeah, it has, you know, really good ball skills. really strong to the ball, runs super hard. I don't know if I've ever seen a kid that runs as hard as he runs. And he's taken a lot of information and processed it. I think so he's only going to get better. But he's one along with the other plebes, like I say, that are going to form a pretty special group here in the future, and I'm super excited about them.
All right, great. I think I'm good. Thank you.
Anyone have anything else? All right. Thanks a lot, Coach.
Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
You too. Take it easy.